This is my 2003 Triumph Daytona 955i, and even by today's standards, it's a pretty fast motorcycle. But is that really what you want for everyday street riding? Well, let's jump on. Let's find out. Now, when I say this bike is fast, I truly mean it, you guys. This is a 955cc inline 3-cylinder engine. It's producing just under 150 horsepower, 100 newton meters of torque. And well, it's got a top speed of well over 160 mile an hour and a 0 to 60 of about 3.1, 3.2 seconds. This bike is very quick. Very, very quick. Honestly. Bikes of the late 90s, early 2000s, man, they were so good. In a lot of ways, they're so comparable to super bikes that you get today, but these ones, they feel a bit more raw, you know? Like, you got no tech or electronics getting in the way. It's just you and the bike. It's awesome. Now, the thing is, this bike has got quite a special place in my heart, because even though, sure, it probably wasn't the fastest bike in its heyday, and it certainly isn't by today's standards, it does have a good balance between just overall speed and usability for everyday street riding. Like, this is one of those engines that is producing its peak horsepower at, I think, 10,000 RPM or so, maybe even a little bit higher up in the rev range. There's a lot of power right at the end of the RPMs, but you've still got loads and loads to play with in the low and middle RPMs as well. So it makes it quite unique as a super sport, and that was kind of the trend back then in the late 90s, early 2000s, where you did get bikes that were producing a lot of top end horsepower, but they had a lot of usable torque as well that you could access on everyday roads. I'll tell you what, actually, this is the way I normally go. Let's go this way instead for a change. Yeah, it's quite remarkable, this bike. I absolutely love it, and I had the same experience on my Kawasaki ZX-9R as well. That was a 1999 model, and they both have a very similar idea of what a superbike was meant to be like for street riding back then. Now, that isn't the case these days, at least if you're buying a super sport like this, a similar caliber to this bike today, then that is the complete opposite picture. You look at the spec sheet and you think, oh my goodness, it's producing 220 horsepower. It isn't really. It's producing it at 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 RPM, sure, but you're already doing well over 70 mile an hour to try and get to it. So in many cases, even though it's nice to have all of that top end horsepower, you can't access it on everyday roads unless, well, yeah, unless you want to try your luck with the cops and all that. But look, as someone who is a content creator, I can't ride like that all the time. So, well, I should say none of the time, but you guys know what I mean. We all like to be a bit cheeky every once in a while. So I do like to find and ride motorcycles that still give me that performance feel that I want, without it being like too far away that I'm hardly ever able to access it. So the thing is with this subject is that it's all well and good having a bike that feels fast, but at some point or other you think it would get a little bit boring, wouldn't you? I'd say that is the case with some bikes, but not so much with others. That's the problem with this subject, is that a lot of it depends on the bike itself. Some bikes, like the Daytona here, are the best of both worlds. So you've got all of that juicy top end horsepower as and when you're able to use it and abuse it, if you like, but you've still got plenty of low end grunt and mid range torque that it will keep you attracted to it every day, you know, on everyday riding. So a bike like this makes so much sense to me. And I get that a lot with 600s as well. Sure, sure, they're producing a lot of top-end horsepower as well. Most of their power is being produced after 10,000 RPM. But even with a lot of modern-day 600s, you're able to access that power. The gearing isn't so ridiculous that you've got to be traveling over 70 mile an hour to reach the power band. That's actually not the case. You are able to, at least in first and second gear, make use of most of the power on most 600cc bikes. So it is a difficult question because you're never ever going to turn some of these hardcore supersport riders away from their 1 litre supersports, even though they're totally impractical really for everyday street riding. Sure, if you plan to track day the bike every once in a while, then it makes a hell of a lot more sense. But for most riders, I think if you're looking at a supersport, get an older one like this, or maybe even look at a 600. Now there are bikes out there that have the best of both worlds. So you're getting torque and you're getting horsepower as well. So it's honestly, these are unicorns of the motorcycle industry. So bikes like the Daytona here, yeah, sure, they can do that. But there are other bikes that can do it even better. Bikes like my Kawasaki ZZR 1400 or ZX14 if you live in the States. Bikes like the Hayabusa, bikes like the Honda Blackbird. All of these bikes are producing crazy amounts of horsepower and crazy amounts of torque. So you get to have your cake and eat it. Those bikes, honestly, like as crazy as they might seem on paper, and sure, in some respects they are a bit insane trying to ride those kinds of bikes on roads like these, but they honestly make a lot more sense than you might think. More sense than a 1000cc Supersport, that's for sure, at least in my humble opinion, at least when you're talking about modern day bikes anyway. But yeah, those bikes, you guys, they've got so much torque on tap and sustained torque throughout the rev range that you really don't feel like you're missing out, even when you're riding just at everyday speeds like this. And then when you want to give it a blast, you're on those B roads, you know, you want to have a bit of fun on the bike. It's got all of that top end horsepower as well, and it just makes everyone else feel quite envious. You know, there are lots of people that talk a big game when it comes to their bikes, but those bikes are the real deal. They have all that horsepower, they have all that torque, and most of it is usable as well. The gearing isn't, at least on my ZZR 1400 and on the Blackbird, it's actually not that far-fetched. For the most part, I'm able to access all of the power on my ZZR 1400 without breaking every single speed limit. Top end of the RPMs, I'm over 70 mile an hour, sure, but I'm only missing out on a little bit at that point, so it really doesn't feel like you're missing out on an awful lot. And same with the Blackbird, same with the Hayabusa as well. So these bikes, they really are motorcycles that you can actually appreciate every day, and they're bikes that you can enjoy on the weekends and all that good stuff. Check out our ride reviews, you guys. We've got ride reviews on the ZX14, on the Hayabusa, and on the Honda Blackbird. So yeah, you guys check them out and let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But I'd say if you are a street rider like me, exclusively a street rider, then I'd say a bike that feels fast is probably one of those bikes that you're going to appreciate more than a bike that is actually fast. Basically, any Moto Guzzi bike fits this category, where they're not quick bikes at all. The 0 to 60 runs, I mean, you're looking at 5 seconds and over, really. Apart from the Mandello and the Stelvio, those bikes, they are actually fairly quick. But even for their weight class, they're not that quick. This Daytona here is significantly faster than any bike that Moto Guzzi have out at the moment in their lineup. But those are bikes that I absolutely loved, because they gave you more than enough power that you need, but they don't make you feel like you're wanting for more either. You feel satisfied when you ride them. I think a lot of it is to do with the engine characteristics, because they use the transverse V-twins, but even so, you guys, I don't know what magic formula, magic sauce, witchcraft the Moto Guzzi are concocting with their bikes. But if, say for example, you know, I'm really happy riding the Daytona here, I think it's an awesome bike, and it scratches every itch that I can think of, you know, torque-wise, horsepower-wise, everyday usability-wise. Well, the Moto Guzzies do that and more. That's the crazy thing about them. They can do so much with so little. It is very impressive what Moto Guzzi bikes have been able to do in recent years. But even bikes like the GSX 8R and the GSX 8S from Suzuki, these are bikes as well that are really good for everyday street riding. Torquey as hell, but again, sustained torque throughout the entire rev range, decently geared as well, so you are able to get up to 60 mile an hour in second gear. Top end of first gear, you're looking about 55 mile an hour, but those are perfect street bikes in my humble opinion, and they're not inline fours or triples like this. You see, triples for me, they have this sweet spot between top end horsepower and low end torque. The Daytona has it here, the Speed Triple has it, but also the Yamaha MT-09 has it. Every triple that I've ever ridden have the exact same characteristics where, sure, they're giving you a lot of lovely, juicy horsepower, but at the same time, they're giving you loads of torque as well to boot. Which, let's be honest here, you guys, torque is what you're going to be using every day. For those of you who don't know, torque is that feeling that you get where you're holding onto the handlebars for dear life. You know, it's this feeling. Woo! Alright, that's torque. Bikes like the Daytona here have immediate torque, immediate punch. These are bikes that you can actually feel the torque and appreciate it and enjoy it. Whereas with a lot of inline fours, not all of them to be fair, a lot of them are really good in this regard as well, but a characteristic of inline four motorcycles is that they're producing more of that torque in the higher end RPMs as the horsepower is really kicking in. So, you know, so like I could be, you know, this is 4,000 RPM on the Daytona here. I think it's in second or third gear. Let's see. Yeah, that's second gear. All right. If I just like 100% the throttle right now, I'm going to feel loads of torque and it's going to be a lot of fun. Whereas on most super sport inline fours, or I'm going to say most inline fours in general, don't have that immediate torque feeling. Some do, all right. Bikes like the Z900 from Kawasaki, bikes like the MT-10 from Yamaha, but they can do some jiggery pokery with those engines to make them feel a lot more torquey. So I'm talking about fast bikes. Like, sure, the MT-10 is a fast bike, the Z900 is a fast bike, but it's not as fast as the R1 and it's not as fast as the ZX-10R, at least on paper. They're just not. But they've been able to tune them and gear them in such a way that you are able to get a lot more satisfaction out of them riding them every day. Riding them on roads like this, on these stupid average speed check roads, where you really like feeling itching to get on the throttle again. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Right, so I'm gonna, so it's I'll go back to 3,000 RPM. All right, it's second gear. Here we go. Okay, so it did take a little bit of time to pick up the power, and it was not the best circumstances really, even for this engine here. But even so, after maybe half a second or so, that's when the torque kicked in. Whereas on inline fours, a lot of the time, especially if the manufacturer hasn't tuned them correctly, or hasn't tuned them for street riding, or hasn't geared them for street riding, it will take an age for them to start picking up picking up power, and then it comes in. You know, and that's even in the lower gears as well. That's in first, second, third gear. And let's be honest, most of the time you want that immediate torque in medium to higher gears, really. And that's where inline fours really struggle the most, is in those situations. But, you know, the thing is, I really like inline fours. It really scratches that itch. When you want a screamer, when you want a bike that gives you all of that top end horsepower, there's nothing like an inline four that will give it to you. There's something about them that you can't get with triples or parallel twins, even though in many cases they make a lot more sense for everyday road use. They make a lot more sense for power to weight ratio. They make a lot more sense for fuel economy. They make a lot more sense for street riding, full stop. The thing is, an inline 4, a parallel twin can't compete with an inline 4. Alright, like manufacturers, they have tried, you know, Suzuki have tried with their GSX 8 series, they have tried with Aprilia's RS660 and Tuono 660, which by the way are awesome bikes as well in their own right, hella fun, loads of horsepower, they're really good bikes for everything, street riding, track riding, they're awesome. But it's not an inline 4. Now granted, I've not actually ridden a V4 before. I've ridden V-twins, but never a V4. So my mind might change on that once I have a go on a V4. I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity to. Maybe I can look at buying an Aprilia V4 at some point. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it's those are the only engines where are a bit of a question mark for me, but riders, they do speak very highly of V4s, so maybe that's something that we can explore in the very near future, you guys. When I've got a little bit of budget, maybe I can look at picking up a Tuono V4 or maybe even an RS V4, but a Tuono I think would be a nicer bike for me. But my goodness, you guys, that's the thing about bikes. There's so much flavor out there, and a lot of it is going to depend on what you prefer. And you're not going to know what you prefer until you've actually experimented, until you've tried out certain bikes, so you've tried out something different. You know, if you've always ridden inline 4s, give a parallel twin a try, give a triple a try, or vice versa. If you've always been riding parallel twins, give an inline 4 a go. And you never know, it will get to the point where you'll love everything, because there's so much to love about so many bikes, even if they are ridiculous for everyday road riding or sensible for everyday road riding. At complete opposite ends of the spectrum, you've got so many amazing bikes. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And the way how parallel twins have been developing in the last 5 to 10 years or so, it's absolutely mind-blowing what manufacturers have been able to do with parallel twins. It kind of doesn't make sense to me, especially the 660 engine from Aprilia. For God's sake, that's a parallel twin that's producing 100 horsepower. The factory RS660, the one that's coming out in 2025, that was producing 105 horsepower, and it's producing a load of torque as well. It's a really torquey bike. So in so many ways, you guys, it's the perfect sport bike, because you've got those aggressive ergonomics, you've got all of that torque that you want for everyday road riding, and you've got a ton of top-end horsepower to play with gearing that isn't out of the realms of possibility either. Yeah, there's some witchcraft going on there at Aprilia with that 660 engine. The same applies with the Tuono as well. Absolutely wicked. Just fantastic bikes. But you guys, I think concluding this video, would you prefer a faster motorcycle or one that feels fast? At the end of the day, it comes down to your taste in bikes and your tolerance for pushing the boundaries, alright? If you are riding fast bikes all the time and that's what you like to ride, like me, I like to ride fast bikes, but I also like to ride bikes that, you know, feel fast as well. I don't like to discriminate, but I do like to ride fast bikes. Then you are on a daily basis going to be pushing the boundaries of what you're able to do on everyday roads, and well, you are going to get caught out every once in a while. I got caught out recently. We will talk about that in another video. Maybe that's already out by now, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that's the game that you play. When it comes to riding fast bikes, that's the game that you play. Whereas fast feeling bikes, sure, you can get caught doing naughty things as well on bikes that feel fast. But those instances are fewer and far between. It's much harder, alright, it's much harder to get on a parallel twin, even a big parallel twin, and go at speeds that are going to get you caught by the police, you know. But yeah, that's what it comes down to, you guys, your taste in motorcycles. I think for me, what I would recommend is that if you are a newer rider, pick a motorcycle that feels fast as opposed to is actually fast. So bikes like the 660s from Aprilia, bikes like the 8S and the 8R from Suzuki, bikes like the Ninja 650 and the Z650 from Kawasaki, bikes like the R7, the MT-07. Bikes like these have got plenty of power that, you know, you're not going to feel like you're missing out, or you're going to or you're not going to be able to keep up with your mates or anything like that. You know, that's certainly not going to be the case, but at the same time, it will help you build up the skills and build up the tolerances and the discipline that you need when you do actually start buying big bikes like this, big fast bikes. And you never know, alright, you might fall into the same kind of feelings that I do, where sure, fast bikes are great, but I like a bike that is fast and that feels fast. Because believe it or not, there are bikes out there that are ridiculously quick but actually don't feel it. Whereas a bike like the Daytona here feels incredibly fast, and it is fast as well, and you get the best of both worlds. Bikes like the MT-09, MT-10 as well, I've already mentioned, the ZR 1400, Hayabusa, Blackbird, bikes like that. They are seriously great bikes for everyday riding, and yeah, you feel like you want for nothing with those bikes. Even if you are a super sport rider at heart, give these bikes a try. You might be pleasantly surprised. These kids, they want a show. Okay, alright. The kids were asking for it, so you gotta give it to them. Sorry, Daytona, redlining you like that. Oh, no, every once in a while, it's good for the bike to get it up into those higher RPMs and make it work hard. But anyway, you guys, thank you ever so much for joining us on our ride out today on the wicked Triumph Daytona 955. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And oh gosh, this road closed, is it? Oh dear, I might have gone the wrong way here. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section below as always, and whether or not there is a bike out there that fits the description that I've been kind of giving you today, where a motorcycle that feels fast, or a bike that is fast and feels fast, or even bikes that are fast but, you know, don't get the juices flowing whatsoever. Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos from us, and we will catch you all in the next video. Everyone, you take care, ride safe, have a good one.